I don't know. I don't know what the drones are. So I'm just saying, American health insurance is such a scam. Like, I feel like they'll say anything they need to say to get in power, and then they lie and change their mind. Not everybody feels this way, and that's also valid, because so many people have continually self-censored themselves due to fear of repercussion, due to fear. I did get into collections a couple of times when I was a teenager. Hey guys, so we are sitting in my crafting corner of my office upstairs at our house, and I thought I would do a video where we chat about some things. I asked you guys on Instagram stories, what should we chat about today? We'll pick a couple topics and just kind of go through them. And I'm gonna be actually doing a craft. And it's not a craft just for fun, which I do often up here. Well, I wouldn't say often, but sometimes. Lately, I've been really getting more into art and crafting and doing things. But actually today, I'm gonna be making a Christmas gift. So what I'm making today is, my husband actually bought me some Converse shoes, maybe it was last year, but it might've been the year before, that are embroidered with these cutest little mushrooms and stuff like that. We got our Mimi girl back here making biscuits. And I wear them literally every single day. I love them so much. My friend's daughter, who is 13, she makes a lot of comments about them, saying that she really loves them. And every time I see her, she's like, oh, I really love your shoes. And she actually drew me a picture recently of Mimi snuggling my shoe, sitting in my shoe, and it was my little mushroom Converse. So I was like, dude, I have to make some for her. So I could have bought them, but I just thought it would be more special if I made them. So what I'm doing is I'm actually embroidering these Converse shoes. So I've already done this sleeve here and this mushroom here, and I'm obviously gonna try to work on the rest of this. It is so hard because the shoes are made of canvas, so it's thick and it's so hard to push this needle through. It just kills my fingers. So I found a hack of using my eyelash curler to pull the needle through. I could use a pair of pliers. Do you think I could find one? No. You see me using this eyelash curler, it's because I'm clamping it down and pulling the needle through with it. So it's weird stuff, but we're doing it. That's what I'm doing. I really hope she doesn't watch this video. I don't think that she has a YouTube account. I don't think her parents let her have YouTube. That's what I'm gonna be doing today. The design that I'm using, I just literally found it on Google. I have no idea where it's from. And then I printed it on this paper actually that you peel and stick. So basically it's for this, it's embroidery paper, and you stick it on so that you can embroider over the top of the design. And then you rinse the garment afterwards. So I'm gonna rinse the shoe under water, and then that paper dissolves, and then you're just left with the embroidery. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm just gonna be working on this while we chat about your topics that you guys wanted to chat about. But before we do, a word from our sponsor. So I want to thank today's sponsor, which is DeleteMe. I've worked with them before, and oh man, having the peace of mind of DeleteMe is like nothing else. It is so wonderful to know I'm gone, I'm deleted from the world, no, from the internet. So if you don't know who DeleteMe is, they are a hands-free subscription service that removes your personal data that's being sold online. So there are these online data brokers that sell your information. There's information about you all over the internet. If you type in your information, it's out there. You have the right to stay private and protected, and that's why I love DeleteMe, because basically what you do is you sign up for their service, you enter your information, and then they scour the internet and delete you from it. I personally chose to use DeleteMe to keep myself and my family much safer, and DeleteMe has since, starting this, has removed me from over 120 different websites and counting, because it's continually scouring the internet for your data and having it deleted. Signing up was extremely easy and efficient. When somebody buys your information from a data broker, they can also see information about your family members. So you can also protect your family members and get a family plan. Basically, DeleteMe keeps your personal information private. Removing your data can help protect you from the risks of identity theft, stalking, harassment. I mean, you know the internet. So how does DeleteMe work? Well, you submit your personal information for removal from search engines, and then the DeleteMe experts will find and remove your personal information like addresses, phone number, etc. And then you'll receive a detailed DeleteMe report in 7 days, and that has all of the websites you've been removed from, if they're pending removal, ones that were successfully removed. And then they continue to scan the internet and delete for you all year. Right now, you guys can get 20% off on DeleteMe's US consumer plans when you go to joindeleteme.com/Kristi and use promo code Kristi at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/Kristi, code Kristi. Thank you so much to DeleteMe for sponsoring today's video, for continuing to partner with me, and for deleting me, because God knows, get me out of here. Okay, so right now what I'm working on is this little snail. So the thing is I actually don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of doing it. And it's not that hard. It really just more like hurts your fingers than anything. Ooh, someone says, what kind of a traditional job you might get if you had to? That's actually a really good question. I've thought a lot about that in the last few years. Like, you know, I think I would probably, if I had to go get a job right now, I would probably go work at a nursery just for the meantime because I'm so interested in plants. And I just feel like that is a fitting job for me. Like in the meantime, like if I absolutely had to today, like if it's like, okay, go get a job, you have to pick one. That's probably first where I would go. My background is in animals. So I was a wildlife rehabber for a few years. I worked in the veterinary hospital for 5 years, and then I became a full-time YouTuber. So I left the vet hospital to pursue this full-time back in 2017, I believe. So if I have to go get a job, like if I had to go do it right now, without being able to get any sort of schooling or anything like that, because I just need to have a job right now, probably go work at the nursery. I might go back into veterinary medicine, or I might do some sort of like video editing online, maybe go to school for, I've always thought that I would be a good therapist, but I actually don't think I would want to do that now. I just think that that's, I don't know. I do think I could do that, like go to school and get like my degree in like clinical psychology or something like that. Or I don't know, being like a licensed therapist or mental health counselor and something like that. Even though like I had my own issues, I still feel like you can help people even though you struggle. That wouldn't be a job that I could obviously get right away. I would have to go to school to be a licensed mental health counselor. Now, wouldn't I? Someone said, I want you to talk about the drones. I have no idea what's going on. Dude, I don't know what's going on either. It's gotta be government though, correct? Like it has to be. And I don't believe in aliens, so I'm not the one. That is still one for me where it's gonna be, that's a toughie. I don't know. I don't know what the drones are, but I feel like, and maybe you guys would agree with me on this. I feel like if this happened 15 years ago, people would give a shit a lot more and people would be like demanding answers. And we're all so like, yeah, what's next? More drones? Okay, aliens today? Okay, what about tomorrow? We're just so apathetic towards things as a society where we're like, oh yeah, okay. Oh, more drones? Okay. Call me when they land.
I never thought aliens would be FAA compliant. Whoa.
This is from my friend actually. She said, what do you want your life to look like at the end of 2025? I want to have traveled more. So I want to have done more things, less TV. We're definitely in like a really heavy screen time moment right now. Winter in Washington is so brutally cold and boring. I feel like we just get into a way too much of a habit of watching way too much TV. You know, you don't know what kind of kid you're gonna have and you think, oh, they're gonna be who we are. And that is true to an extent. Like your kids will do what you do to an extent. They are their own person. They're autonomous. They make their own choices. And just because you're an outdoorsy person does not mean your kid is going to be. And that has been the case for us. Our son is just, he's not about it. He does not like being cold. And I don't care. I'd be outside every second of every day if I could. Like I absolutely love being outside. It's just my favorite. Not for him. He's just not about it. He wants to be warm inside, cushy, comfortable. And who could blame him? I mean, he's a little baby, for goodness sake. He's not a baby anymore, he's 4, but he's still a baby. So that makes it tough because when we're trapped inside for hours and hours and hours and hours because he does not want to go outside, it's miserable for him. We've ended up doing more TV than I would like. So I hope that by the end of 2025, we've gotten to a much better place with TV. I hope to have started our business that we're hoping to start, and maybe even a couple of different ways. We want to have a roadside stand. I have an idea for a business that I'm really excited to do for 2025. I just feel like it's actually going to fill my cup, and it seems like I think I'm going to be able to do it. I want to get out more, like see new places, try new things, have new experiences. I want to spend way more time with family and friends. That is something I've really prioritized in this last year. I just want to be involved in more community, more local things, more things. Like I'm just a very community oriented person and I want to, you know, start volunteering more. I want to start working with like local shelters and, you know, organizations that help families in need or kids in need. And that's kind of where I feel like I want to focus a lot of my efforts. So hopefully by the end of 2025, I can say that I was able to do that. People want my opinion a lot. Like everybody wants my opinion on the government. And, you know, I don't know why that is something that people really want to hear me talk about. You don't. I just am so painfully aware that they're all a bunch of liars. I don't actually believe that any of them have our best interest at heart. There may be a few in there that do good things here and there, but it's so few and far between that I don't put my faith into any sort of government authority. I feel like they'll say anything they need to say to get in power, and then they lie and change their mind. I feel like nobody has our actual best interests at heart. It's all about profit, and it's infuriating. You know what? If you are like very pro-government, like that's your absolute right to be so. If you are like really into politics, that's totally your prerogative. And while I think, yes, of course, we're all affected by government, a lot of the government's bought and paid for. So it just feels a lot like you're not really getting what's best for the people, you're getting what's best for the politician. Makes a lot of sense to me that there's such a political divide in this nation. It makes complete sense to me. The unfortunate part is that neither side is going to be able to convince the other that they're right or wrong. It's the part of our world that is. I don't know, I just feel like everybody is so unique. And I think that's the cool part about people, is that we are so uniquely who we are. We are not all exactly the same with the exact same views and opinions. And I think that's what's awesome about the world, is that we are so different. I just personally am the kind of human being who lets people have the opinions that they have. And I interact with what I feel comfortable interacting with, if that makes any logical sense. While I don't obviously agree with opinions that aren't my own, I don't agree in people's differing opinions and views necessarily, but I can see them and I can understand how a lot of people got to that point. Not everybody feels this way, and that's also valid. You don't have to feel the way that I feel. It just is what it is. I can't change the fact of who I am. You don't have to be that way. Again, if you are like somebody that's like, no, if you disagree with me, I hate you. That's your life. That's valid for you. And if I choose not to be that way, that's valid for me too.
With the current two-party system that we have here in America, you're going to have half of the people be fucking mad about whatever the outcome is. So if you subscribe to the two-party system, whether you like it or not, we subscribe to it because in America, that's just how things are, then that's what you can't agree. We're going to disagree. So that's why I hate it all.
That is ultimately how I see so many different things. I'm able to have conversations with people that I quite often disagree with, and able to have friendships with people that I don't have the same views as. There's a lot of my friends that are where we completely differ in certain areas, or we completely agree in other areas. But for myself personally, I choose to befriend people and talk to people and have conversations with people who I have completely differing views than and completely differing opinions than. And I just love to have a diverse group of friends who can agree to disagree. And if you're not one of those people, again, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me. I understand your side, and I see why you are somebody that isn't that way. It's just the reality of the situation is that I am an ever-changing human being that, as I learn every single day, every single second of every single day, I'm learning something new. I'm seeing something new that I've never seen before. I'm hearing sides that I've never considered before. And I quite often change my viewpoints on things. Who I was 20 years ago is not who I was 15 years ago, is not who I was 10 years ago, is not who I am today. And who I am 5 years from now will be different. And my thoughts and opinions can change moment to moment as I learn new information. And I think that that's healthy and normal. And I think that the more that we can realize that that is okay, in my opinion, the better off we will be. But you don't have to agree with me. You really don't. That's the beauty of the world, is that you are able to have completely differing opinions than me. And we can still, in my viewpoint, be friends. I think that's the thing, is that we all have to come to our own conclusions of what we do and don't feel comfortable with, what we do and don't believe, what we do and don't agree with. Like that, this is all just a part of the human experience. We are all just doing what we think is best in the time that we think it. Like, I don't know, I don't really have any other way to put it than that. Like, I just feel like genuinely everybody's usually doing what they think is best for them. We've all lived in a different set of lives and circumstances, and it's just so hard because you can't be somebody like online these days. You are not allowed to be somebody with that sort of perspective. And I think that we've gotten to a point where it's really detrimental and harmful. Like, in my opinion, I think that it's ridiculous.
To expand upon this a little bit, it's like the difference in life circumstances from somebody that lives in Los Angeles versus somebody that lives in like Appalachia or lives in rural North Carolina. To expect everybody to have the same set of values, to expect everybody to be able to agree with each other, bananas to me. And I think sometimes we forget how absolutely huge America is and how absolutely different, literally county to county, somebody can experience life. Like the people in downtown Seattle have a completely different life experience than the people in Ephrata, Washington. Like it's like two different worlds. They're not even mildly similar. It's funny to me because I think a lot of people, especially in like other countries or a lot of different places, people think America is like America. Literally, you couldn't become more different from the middle of New York to the middle of Texas. Like these people are so different. And the more we realize that you can't agree because they're living different lives. So what these people agree with over here is the opposite of what these people need over here. Do you know what I'm saying?
But that's my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. That's just my opinion. It's my opinion! What is something that you wish you had done differently with your finances when you were younger? Well, ultimately, not a ton, because I am somebody that's just naturally really big into saving money. Like that's just something that I just do naturally. I buy things too, and I've made some stupid decisions when it comes to something. I sort of have been all right at saving money. Other than when I was a teenager, I was given a chunk of money after my mom died. I don't know if it was inheritance or if it was Social Security or if it was, I don't know what the reason for the money was, but my dad gave it to me. That was such a bad choice. Love ya, but it was a bad choice, but actually, ultimately, I feel like it benefited me in that it taught me the value of how quickly money can go. I spent it. I spent it on Mexican food. I ate enchiladas like every night. I bought Ben & Jerry's ice cream like every night. Oh my goodness. She's getting it. Don't you bite it. Don't. She's getting the string that I'm playing, that I'm embroidering with. Mimi, no. Oh, I see you getting kitten. Oh, is this a titten? Oh, Mimi. What an absolute. Oh, what a girl. What an absolute girl. Ultimately, it taught me a lot about money. It taught me that you got to be more careful with spending. You've got to not just frivolously spend. You can't just eat Ben & Jerry's every single day. And first of all, be healthy. But second of all, be financially healthy. I spent all of the money, like within 6 months. And while it was a good lesson, and my mom had just died, so ultimately it was kind of good because it kind of kept me occupied. It was something that was like good that had happened. I'm sure that was my dad's thought process of like, they're grieving, give it to them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let them have it. Let them have some fun in their life. Let them just spend. So I think it was a good lesson. I didn't make any horrific financial decisions. I didn't get credit cards. I didn't do any of that stuff because I just was nervous about ruining my credit, about being in debt. I don't like the idea of debt. It freaks me out. I'm not a credit card user. I'm not a risk taker. I'm a very low yield bond. I'm Ross, you know? I'm no like expert, but I am also the type of person that really needs financial security in order to feel secure in life. And so I have always prioritized that, and it's done me well. I mean, I'm in debt to my house. My house isn't paid off, but other than that, no, I feel like I've done a pretty good job. So I didn't make any horrific choices. I did get into collections a couple of times when I was a teenager. I fell off of a porch and I broke my rib, and I went and got an x-ray, and that x-ray put me into collections. It was so bad. I think it was like the x-ray and the whole exam and everything like that came out to like almost $7,000. The American healthcare system is a scam. A bag of fluids costs $800 in the hospital. And I'm working in a veterinary hospital. I know that a bag of fluids costs like $5. So they be scamming. Don't even get me started on health insurance. Don't even get me started on health insurance. The fact that I pay $1,500 a month for health insurance, and that literally doesn't fucking cover anything. People that live outside of the United States, I'm just gonna go on a health insurance rant real quick. The fact that people live outside of the United States are literally baffled. I was talking about this on my story the other day, and you're gonna hear a new side to me come out. I was absolutely baffled. I was talking about this on my story the other day where I was saying, how does anyone get around this? How does anybody afford this? I pay $1,500 per month to have health insurance. So I tried to get around it. I was thinking maybe I could just pay out of pocket for my medications, and instead of paying that money every month, I could put that money into a savings account, and then I could have it for myself. And then I was thinking, well, you know, if there was an accident or if something happened or if I fell down the stairs and I broke my leg, if there was, you know, so many different things that could happen. And I was thinking about it and I was like, oh, that's probably not smart that I would not have health insurance because of an accident like that would financially be devastating, you know? And then I was thinking about the fact that $1,500 every month, that doesn't even fucking cover anything. So I still have a deductible for $1,500 per month. The family deductible is $18,500, which means if you don't know, if you don't live in the United States, by the way, people outside of the United States, mind blown that this is the cost. So not only do I have to pay for my prescriptions, I do think I get them at like $10 per month or whatever. But if I wanted to just pay for my prescriptions without insurance, my sumatriptan injections that I have to have for my chronic pain condition, $800 per month. I don't want to even get started on that. That doesn't even cover the cost. People outside of the country are like, what do you mean? So you pay for health insurance. It's $1,500 per month for my family of 3. So if I have to go to the doctor, I still have my not deductible, my co-insurance. So I have to pay, like when I walk in, they're like, oh, so you have to pay $50 for the doctor, like right when you walk in. They do the doctor's appointment and then I'll get a bill in the mail for whatever insurance does not cover. So it's not like that $1,500 a month covers the doctor's appointment. No. They probably won't even cover it until I reach my deductible. So my deductible for a personal, I think is what, like $5,000, let's say. It's $5,000 for a deductible, which means I have to reach that level before my insurance will fully kick in, or $18,500 for your family.
By the way, that's per year. So once the year starts over for next year, you restart. It's not like that's like over a lifetime, by the way. So if I paid $17,000, it's like, oh my God, I'm almost there. And then my insurance will kick. No, as soon as January hits, it starts back at zero.
It absolutely blows my mind. So that doesn't cover everything. That doesn't cover mental health. I still have to pay for my therapist, pay out of pocket for that because insurance doesn't cover it. I still have to pay for prescriptions. Like I said, I still have to pay for the doctor's visits. If I have a specialist visit that's not covered, got to pay for that out of pocket. Thousands of dollars. My husband had pericarditis, so he had to go into the emergency room because he thought he was like having a heart attack or something, and he had to get like a bunch of heart medications and an EKG and all this kind of stuff. That visit with insurance cost me like $3,000. So with insurance that I still pay $1,500 a month for, still cost me like $3,000. So I'm just saying, American health insurance is such a fucking scam. Like, don't even get me started. Because I have to go to the doctor all the time, I have to have it because I have these chronic health conditions. But tell me right now, if it isn't the biggest scam of my entire life, and it's financially, even if I paid my house off, even if I grow all of my own food, even if I do everything as minimally as humanly possible to avoid the amount of costs of things in this world, I would still have to pay $1,500 per month for health insurance. Or I have to pay for all my medications out of pocket, which would cost me over $1,000. And then I'm not covered if something catastrophic happens, like I get cancer or something. So you're literally buying the health insurance as a hope you don't get sick, hope you don't die. Someone said, I want you to talk about the fact that people are against stricter FDA regulations. I haven't seen anything about this, but I also am like not on my phone much lately. I guess my question is, what is it that people are against? I've seen that they're potentially going to ban certain like dyes and stuff like that in food. I don't know much about this. I will admit ignorance on this. If it's bad for our health, and we know it's bad for our health, and other countries have regulated it that have stricter regulations than the United States, I don't see any downside to making our food less toxic if it can be done in a better way. Like, okay, for instance, I used to go to Canada all the time because I used to get my hair done in Canada. I have friends up in Canada, and I would go there, and you would go to like the store. I remember going to the store with my friends, and we were picking out Canadian candy and chips and stuff like that. They do not, like, literally, here was my house, you cross the border, they don't have high fructose corn syrup. They don't have the same ingredients. They don't have the same food dyes that we have. They don't have any of that. Like, Canada is, they just like, no, we're not allowing our people to eat that garbage. It tastes amazing. All the food tastes absolutely the same. It's great. I see no downside to it. I don't know though, because I will admit ignorance on this one. I don't know much about this. What could be the harm? I could see like vilifying certain things because people don't understand. Maybe there's reasons for it, but like if we're just talking about like chemically removing like harsh chemicals from food that have been banned in other countries that we know factually are allowed in the United States, but that are bad for the human body, that can be replaced with something else. Like, okay, let's replace red 40 with beet coloring. Let's replace yellow 10 with turmeric. I don't see why that's a bad thing. We don't need our food to be this brightly colored. We don't need it to be. It's just more of like, we like it to be. We're American. We like what we like. We know that in clinical trials, it's been bad. We know that it can cause cancer. We know that it can cause, why not try to replace it with something else, especially if in proven other countries that have stricter regulations than the United States on their food, then we know for a fact that it's bad and they don't allow it and that people feel better over there. That's a fucking harm. I hope it doesn't increase the prices of things. I hope that's not the case. If we can make our food less toxic by like getting rid of red 40, which is the only one that I've seen, like something about food dyes. I saw that on like a news article on TikTok or something like that. I don't even know if that's what this person's talking about, but I have no beef with that at all because I've been to the other countries that have done this and it's great. I don't know. I don't have any issue with it, but I don't also know all of the ins and outs of what this person specifically is talking about. The fact that people are against stricter FDA regulations, I haven't seen anybody be against it, but maybe you guys can enlighten me in the comments of why that might be a problem or why people are against it or what specifically people are talking about. Child exploiters, AKA mommy and daddy vloggers. What is your opinion on that? I think I've made my opinion on that probably pretty clear over the years, but in case I haven't, I think it is abhorrent. I think it is horrific. There are absolutely ways to be a family vlogger without exploiting and showing your children, and it is absolutely possible. You can see it time and time again through content creators on TikTok, on Instagram, on Reels, who have decided to make parenting content without their children in it. I know it's possible because I am one of those parents. Anytime that my kid is in my video, you just don't show his face. You just put an emoji over it, or you blur it out, or you crop the video to where he's not shown in it. You don't have to exploit your kids. And it is a literal choice that these parents are making to exploit their children. And I am not okay with it. I think it's absolutely horrific and disgusting. It should be illegal in my opinion because they can't consent. Kids cannot consent to being content. Like they literally don't even know what that means. They just know mommy and daddy said it's okay, so I'm gonna do it. Like kids, that people all the time will be like, my kid wants to be in content. Your kid is 4. I had infertility for years. And when I was doing my trying to conceive content back in the day, like that's how I started off on YouTube, is I was trying to conceive. I couldn't get pregnant, but I was part of a community of women that were also trying to conceive or that had recently had children. And that was the birth of the mom vlogger era. It was so common. I would have done it. I would have, because I didn't know any better. It was so like, my mind doesn't go to those dark places, those hideous places of thinking that somebody would ever exploit children for money or that anybody out there has a nefarious reason for watching children online. Like my mind doesn't go to those places naturally because I am not an evil, weird person. So I probably would have totally been a mom vlogger back in the day. And so I almost think it was a blessing in disguise that I had infertility for a few years because, well, for 15 years, because I think that my children would have suffered in a way being brought up online because I had no idea. Everyone was doing it. Like everybody was a family vlogger. That was like what people did. We know better now. We didn't have the data then, but we do have the data now. And we know that it's unhealthy for kids. We know the internet is not a safe place for kids. We know that those videos end up on the dark web. We know that people are, 54-year-old man that follows a 12-year-old girl on Instagram. We see this happening. We can't turn a blind eye to this stuff because we know it to be true now. So the fact that we know it to be the case and that some parents are still doing it is horrific to me. It's absolutely disgusting. It is not okay. It is not ever okay. And as soon as you learn it to be a thing, you have to protect your children from it or you're exploiting your kids and you can't say that you're not. Because we know enough now. It's not like anyone can feign ignorance in this. Like we know. Like, I'm not talking about showing your kid every now and again. I'm not talking about like a birthday picture, like a happy birthday post on your Instagram. I'm talking about people who time and time again choose to use their children as content without considering or with considering and still choosing the hideous choice of showing your kid knowing that there's people out there doing horrific shit with that footage. Ren Eleanor, that mom that I talked about her, maybe 6 months ago. I'm glad that she seemingly stopped posting, but I don't know. I don't know that I trust that she's nowhere. I've heard a couple of people say that they think that she moved the content elsewhere, maybe behind a paywall. That is all speculation. I don't think that is verifiable, but I hope to God that's not true, because if it is, that's like one of the most horrifying things I've ever seen. I just got a question about how I could accept infertility. And that's the interesting part. I get this question more than any other question, I feel like. When I talk about my infertility journey, people are like, how did you come to terms with not being able to get pregnant? And ultimately, as I think you guys know, I was able to get pregnant. I have a son and he is 4. And so a lot of people want to know, like, okay, but how did you come to terms with that? And so I think I'm going to make a full separate video on that, because this is one of the most asked questions of my entire life. And I think it deserves its own video that people can find if it is relevant and not just stuck in some random, chatty video while I'm embroidering shoes. So I think I'm going to do that. So if you guys are interested, I'm going to have that video coming very soon. I just wrapped tape around my finger where it continues poking me because it hurts so bad every time I'm doing this that I'm like, okay, I cannot do this anymore. It can't believe how slow this is. Like, this is unbelievable. I can't believe how slow this process is compared to like painting a picture. I like embroidery. Embroidery is really fun, but embroidering shoes is not fun. Other people wanted to know about grief and how I've dealt with that, because as probably a lot of you guys know, that my mom died when I was 16, and not just my mom, all of my grandparents died. We dealt with the loss of my sister's baby last year. It was just last year. And we've just had a lot of loss in our lives and family, like literally an unbelievable amount. Specifically, probably people are talking about my mom dying because that was like pivotal. It changed everything about my life. So I think people also want to, that's a big question I get asked a lot about, is about grief. And so I think I'm going to make a separate video on that as well, instead of just sticking it here in a Q&A style video, so that, again, if somebody's looking for it, they can find it, instead of just having to listen to me talk about politics in the beginning of this video or aliens and drones. Then they can just, look for that information and get what they actually need, instead of feeling like they're kind of stuck to, scrubbing through a video. So I think I'm going to do that separately as well, because quite a lot of you guys are asking about that. And maybe I will do a Q&A box on my Instagram asking like what specific ow, shit, did that just go into my finger? I think it did. What specific questions you have about grief, because it is really hard to navigate. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm the right one. I just did. All right, well, I think that's it for today's video. My bangs are looking so disgusting today because I took a shower and I put my hair up in a towel, and then my cowlick got set in place. And so it's just separating right here. So I just look like Dennis the Menace, but let's just move past that. I didn't get very far. At all. Working on the snail right now. This is how far we got. Up close and personal. I am in the middle of working on the snail right now, but I think these are going to turn out pretty stinking cute. I think they're really cute, actually. But kill me, I don't want to do an entire other shoe. This looks like, this is a lot of work. Way more work than I thought it was going to be. I was going to make 3 pairs of these shoes for a couple of different people, and I don't know if I can now. I literally don't think I'll be able to even get this one pair finished before Christmas. So good job waiting to the last minute, RBK. Your guys' response on my last video has really shocked me. I couldn't believe it. I thought that talking about religion, talking about faith, talking about all of that is such a taboo topic that typically it's not something that I ever would normally have talked about. And doing so has made me feel more brave to talk about other topics that I felt nervous talking about. Because the thing is I feel that we are at a time in our world and society where we are so starving for any content that isn't surface level superficial, because so many people have continually self-censored themselves due to fear of repercussion, due to fear people who disagree with them might say. For people, it's gotten to a point where so many people are self-censoring that you don't ever get people's true thoughts and feelings and opinions. So often it can feel like you're alone in your thoughts. It can feel like you're alone in your skepticism or your feelings or your religion or your faith or your thoughts towards a certain topic, because it is hard to navigate the internet in today's day and age where there is such a time of self-censoring due to social stigmas. I think that I can feel that online, and I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked at the response to my video, because I really didn't get any negative comments, and I'm shocked by that. Because talking about God, talking about Jesus, talking about religion, talking about faith, talking about differing opinions, that's a very touchy topic for a lot of people. I mean, just a lot of people. And so I was fully expecting to get absolutely destroyed on that video, and it just was not the case. It not only wasn't the case, I was very pleasantly surprised by the comments, to the point where I have felt like such an immense weight lifted off my shoulders, knowing that sometimes I can touch on more taboo topics or more scary topics and have that be okay, to have it land. And maybe it doesn't land perfectly with everybody, but it landed the way that it did. And I'm speaking the truth to my now. Like, of course, I know that with each day that I learn new things, my opinions do change, my thoughts do change, my beliefs change. Like, everything is fluid within my belief system because I'm a human being and I learn new things. With that new knowledge, I gain a new perspective. And I think that we all are like that, right? But the internet doesn't make it seem like it's like that. But the more and more I go on, the more I realize, like, oh, I can be bold and be who I am. What they say is be who you are on purpose, right? And I love that. And I saw this quote the other day from Africa Brooke, who is just amazing Instagram account. And the post said this, and I really love it. As the new year begins, the only thing I ask is that you stop subscribing to the joyless trap that is self-censorship. All I ask is that you choose to opt out of devaluing your perspective, overly editing your words, silencing your vision, and lying to keep the peace, all while creating internal chaos. In any given moment, you can decide that enough is enough. Ooh, that's good. So I think that that is what I'm taking into 2025. I think that I'm just going to be bold and be who I am on purpose. And I'm going to try to live through creativity and art and open-mindedness and love and self-compassion and extend that compassion to others as though I always have, and continue to speak as though I am worth being heard. And I think that's it. So I thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you. It is very, very awesome to have such a kind, supportive, and amazing community. I feel like it's gotten even better over the years. Again, thank you so much to DeleteMe for sponsoring today's video. Again, you guys can get 20% off of US consumer plans when you guys go to DeleteMe.com/Kristi and use code Kristi at checkout. I thank you guys so much for watching this video and for being the most awesome, supportive community. And I will see you at my next video. Bye.